We have Hey Zion. If while passing through the vineyard some seeds fell from him, or dropped with the manure or with the water, or while sowing, the wind blew it behind him, it is permitted. If the wind blew it before him, Rebbe Kiva says, if blades, it must be plowed up, and if in ear, it must be beaten. And if it produced corn, it must be burned. Okay, come on. If one retains thorns in a vineyard, Reb Eliezer says it is rendered forbidden, but the Kachamim say it is not rendered forbidden, only such things like the like of which are retained. Iris, ivy, king's lily, and all kinds of seeds are not Kilayim in a vineyard. Hemp, Rabbi Patarfin says it is not Kilayim, but the Kachamim say it is Kilayim. The artichoke is Kilayim in a vineyard. What is an iris? If one plants a row of 5 vines beside a fence 10 tefachim high, or beside a ditch 10 tefachim deep and 4 wide, it is given a tillage space of 4 amos. Beit Shammai said one must measure 4 amos from the body of the vines to the field, but Beit Hillel says from the fence to the field. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri said all who say so are mistaken. Only if there are 4 amos between the roots, from the roots to the vines to the fence, it is given its tillage space, and the rest may be sown. How much is the tillage space of a vine? 6 tefachim in every direction. Rabbi Kiva says 3.
Okay. All right. So Mishnah base Aris shehu yotze min hamadrega. All right. So we're going to probably have to do some whiteboards again today.
Okay.
Let's go. So our story of the trellis that comes from a step. So let's say we've got the following situation where we've got a step like so, okay, and then above the then on the top of the step over here, we're going to switch into a green over here, and so we've got a vine growing over here. In this area over here. Okay, so here's your vine, and it's overhanging here.
Okay.
All right, and now we're going to have a person standing over here. We'll make the person in orange. So here's a person here. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Now the question, what we say over here is Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov Omer, and I don't think there's anyone who's going to disagree with him over here. Im omeid ba'aretz, so he has the ground. Okay. Im omeid ba'aretz ubotzer is kulo. So if he can stand over here and reach all of the grapes that are on the vine over here.
Okay.
Okay. Hare ze oser arba amos basadeh. Then when you're looking at how far you have to go from the grapes, you have to go from where it's overhanging over here to here, 4 amos. Okay,
Wait, I just missed that. He's on the ground over here. I'm pointing to it like you can see it. He's on the orange ground, and what's below him now?
Okay. Now, if he can reach out, let me go back to my original drawing over here and say back into orange and say, so let's say he can reach his hand up here and pick all the grapes.
Okay.
Okay. If he can reach all the grapes over here, then we've got to take this line down from where it's overhanging, and over here go 4 amos.
Okay.
Okay. That means you've got to leave 4 amos over there if he can reach it. However, if he can't reach all of the grapes over here, then this is considered as if it's not connected to the field over here. So this over here means it's connected to the field, and these 4 amos over here have to be kept clear before you plant your vegetables over here. Okay, but if not, then the only place that you're not allowed to plant your vegetables is in this space over here.
Right. Okay.
That's definitely not allowed. Okay.
4 amos below.
So only in here. So if you can't reach it, so let's say, if you've got if there are more grapes that are growing up higher over here, let's say if the vine carries on up here, then he can't reach and pick all the grapes over there. Then the only area that's prohibited is what's directly under here. But he would be allowed to plant in these 4 amas in between.
Okay.
Okay, so in both cases, we certainly can't plant over here, certainly can plant over here. The question is what's with these 4 amas in the middle, and that rides on whether or not a person standing on the ground over here can reach all of the grapes on the vine, not just some of the grapes. He's got to be able to completely clear it.
Okay, I was misunderstanding that. I was looking at that. He was standing on the ground, and that was below ground, the 4 amos, but it's not. It's
No,
right,
that's just a distance marker, I'm saying.
right. It's just it's a distance mark. That's all. The field that field that's next to where he's standing is the 4 amos that he needs.
Yeah, that's correct. So, right. Okay, so you with me over here? That's our story. All right. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, af hanotea achas ba'aretz v'achas b'madrega. Okay, if you have one plant that is on the ground and one on a step, one row actually. So it's not a plant. It's a row of 2 vines. So once again, let's take case 2 and draw again. So here we've got we've got a step again, and we're going to draw green. So we got oh, actually I'm going to stay in this and just try and draw it 3-dimensional. So we've got a step over here. Let's see. And another one over there. So we've got this sort of stepped area over here. All right, and he's planted over here a row of plant. So he's got a row of vines over here, and he's got a row of vines over here. Now remember, what do we have to have in order to make a vineyard? You've got to have 2 rows.
2 rows.
Okay, so one is on the ground and one is on the step. Does that join together to make a vineyard? Okay, so now the question, so that's Rabbi Eliezer. It comes and says, so it all depends on this height. If I get to the arrows again and get here. So then we're talking about this height over here. What is the height of the step? If that height is 10 tfachim, then they don't join together. And they're considered 2 separate rows of plants, and all you have to do is leave 6 tfachim on either side of the vines. But if this gap over here is less than 10 tfachim, then this is considered a kerem between the 2 rows here. That makes it a kerem, and you have to give 4 amas on either side.
Now that vine is growing on the step. There's no soil underneath there. I mean, there's no what you stepped up onto something, or you stepped up onto dirt. It's a raised amount.
On dirt. It's just a raised mound, let's say.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, it's an earthen step. Or you've got some rocks over here. It doesn't matter if you've got rocks holding up the soil on the other side. But you planted the vines over there, and the planted the vines down below.
All right, good. I got it. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Great. Next, let me save that one.
The diagrams really help.
Great. Glad to hear. Okay. Next, we have Hamadle Esagefen al Miktas Apifyaros. So we've got let's say a pergola.
Okay.
And he's growing his vine, and he's trained his vine over part of the pergola. Now, Lo yavi zera el tachas hamosar. He's not allowed to plant vegetables anywhere under the pergola, even where the vine hasn't gone. Okay, why? Because the vine, by its nature, is going to spread, and it's basically the pergola is botzel to the vine. It's going to it's just there for the vine, and even though right now it's not overhanging the vegetables, it will. So you're not allowed to plant vegetables over there. Bim heavy, and if he did try to go and plant vegetables in the wrong place, lo kidesh, okay, he hasn't actually caused damage. It's a preventative measure, but which he's not allowed to do. But if he went ahead and did it, then his neither the vine nor the vegetables become prohibited. But if the vine now starts growing and encroaches above the vegetables, asur, then straight away his vegetables are going to become asur. Actually, now the question is, will the vine also become asur? So according to the way Kahati's put it, it seems like it's only the vegetables that were planted underneath that were planted under the trellis that will become asur, but the vine itself will not. And the same goes for an ornamental tree. That if you train the vine over part of the ornamental tree, then you're not allowed to plant vegetables under the other side of the tree, because the vine will naturally spread to the other side of the tree, and it will eventually go over the vegetables. So the same halacha applies exactly whether it's a pergola or whether it's an ornamental tree. Once you've trained a vine over it, you're not allowed to put vegetables underneath it. That is distinct from the case in the next Mishnah. If you train the grapevine to go over a fruit tree, so let's apple tree, fig tree, whatever it may be, if it's producing fruit, then it has a greater chashivus than the ornamental tree, and it does not lose its own significance into relative to the grapevine. Okay. So here's again the case. It is permitted to bring vegetables under the other side of the tree.
Okay.
And if the grapevine taka did go and grow over the area where the vegetables were growing, okay, so cut it back. No damage done though. You just have to make sure that it never happens that the vine goes over the vegetables. Shehalach Rabbi Yeshua etzel Rabbi Yishmael l'chvar aziz. So, okay, Maaseh Shahaya with Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Yishmael. The here ahu gefen mudle al miktas teina. And now who's the so Rabbi Yishmael asks Rabbi Yeshua the shaila. Says what's with this case over here? We've got a grapevine that's partially growing over a fig tree. Amar mani lahavi zera el tachas amosar. Am I allowed to plant vegetables under the other side of this tree? Amar lo mutar. Yeah. So this is just to show us that this is the halacha that we see in our Mishnah. And he took him to a different place nearby. Over here, gefen shehi mudle al miktas hakora v'sadan shel shikma. So the same case over here. We've now got a vine that's over a sycamore tree. Now, sycamore doesn't have fruit as such, but they're grown typically for their timber. Right. They make very good timber. Okay. Chorus harbain. It had lots of branches. It just had one branch, had a vine over it. Amarlo. Tachas akora zo asur. Yeah, you're not allowed to plant under this one where the vine is. V'ashar mutar. And the rest is also permitted. So so he extends the principle of literal fruit-bearing trees to a tree whose fruit is significant in terms of that it's timber. It's built as a timber tree, and it's significant in that respect. Therefore, it does not lose its identity to the vine, and it's permitted to plant vegetables under the rest of the tree. Okay, all making sense?
Yes.
Great. Okay, chazars.
Good. All right, let me just put this here. Okay, we have Gimel bet. No species of seeds may be sown in one bed, but any species of vegetables may be sown in one bed. Mustard and small smooth peas are species of seeds, and large peas are a species of vegetables. A border which measured one handbreadth high and diminished remains valid since it was at the beginning. A furrow or a water channel 1 handbreadth deep may be sown with 3 seeds, one on one side, one on the other, and one in the middle. If a point of a row of vegetables enters into a field of a different vegetable is permitted because it is apparent that is the end of the field. If his field was sown with vegetables and he wishes to plant in it a row of different vegetables, Rabbi Ishmael says only if the furrow is open from one end of the field to the other. And Rabbi Akiva says the length of the six tefakim and its full width. Rabbi Yehuda says the width is the sole of a foot. If one plants 2 rows of cucumbers, 2 rows of gourds, 2 rows of Egyptian beans, it's permitted. 1 row of cucumbers, 1 row of gourds, and 1 of Egyptian beans is forbidden. 1 row of cucumbers, 1 row of gourds, and 1 row of Egyptian beans, and 1 row of cucumbers, the Eliezer permits, but the Chachamim forbid. Okay.
Right. Right. Paya Zain base.
If an olive tree standing among 3 rows of 2 rectangles was forgotten, it is not shicha. If an olive tree which contains 2 saws was forgotten, it is not shicha. When does this apply? When he had not begun. But if he had begun, even as in the tofa, an olive in its time, and he forgot, it is shicha. As long as he is under it and he has it at its top, but Meir says from the time the machaba is gone. What is a parrot? Which falls off at the time of the vintage. If while a person was harvesting he cut the cluster by its stalk, it became entangled in the leaves and it fell from his hand to the ground and was separated, then this belongs to the owner. If he sets down the basket under the vine when he is harvesting, then he robs the poor of him, as it has been said, remove not the landmark of those who come up. Which is an olelet? Whatever has neither katif or natif. If it has a katif or natif, to the owner. If there is doubt, to the poor, olelet in the joint. If it is snipped off with a cluster, then it belongs to the owner. If not, then it belongs to the poor. A single berry, Rabbi Yehuda says cluster, but the Chachamim say olelet.
Right.
Olelet. Okay. All right.
Ach, Sharon.
Gimel. If one sugar tree of fruit fell into another tree, or one sugar branch and fruit fell into another branch, and under them were seeds or vegetables that were attached to the ground, Beit Shammai says it is included in the law of water is placed, but Beis Hillel says it is not included in the law of water is placed. But Yeshua said in the name of Abba Yossi Khalif Kufri, a leader of Tivan, you should wonder yourself if there is a liquid that generates susceptibility to tuma in the Torah, unless he places it with intent, for it is stated, but if the water had been placed on a seed.
So we said that this case was that funny case where he shook it, and the water sort of bounced and rebounded onto the vegetables that were underneath.
Mm-hmm.
And does that water become bechiyutan if it was a sort of a secondary effect? And I think that was the machlokas of Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. Okay, let's carry on.
If water shook a bundle of vegetables and the water fell from the upper part of the bundle to the lower part, Beit Shammai say it is included in the law of water is placed. Beis Hillel says it is not included in the law of water is placed. Beis Hillel said to Beit Shammai, but if he shook the vegetable stalk, should we not be concerned that the water went from one leaf to another leaf? And Beit Shammai said to them, because the stalk is one item and a bundle comprises many stalks. Beis Hillel said to them, if one brought up a sack of fruits and placed them on the banks of the river, should we be concerned that the water descended from the top of the sack to the bottom? But if he brought up 2 sacks and placed them one on top of the other, the bottom one is included in Bechiyatan, right?
Bechiyutan, yes.
Bechiyutan. My eyes.
That's right.
Okay. Rabbi Yossi said the bottom sack is also tahor. If one pressed on a leak or squeezed water from his hair with his garment, Rabbi Yossi says what emerges is included in Bechiyatan, Yutan. But what remains is not included in the law of Bechiyutan because the intent that all of the children. Okay.
Because right, his intention is for it all to go. Yeah. Okay.
Kilayim.
Right. Kilayim, Yod Zayin, Tes.
The amma of which the rabbi spoke is a medium amma. 2 1 amma measuring sticks were kept in Shushan Habira. one at its northern eastern corner and one at its southeastern corner. The one at the northeastern corner was longer than the Amma of Moshe by a half finger breadth. The one at the southeast corner was longer than that one by another half finger breadth. This second measuring stick is thus found to be longer than the Amma of Moshe by a full finger breadth. And why did the rabbi speak of one large Amma measure and one small? So that the craftsman would take contracts according to the small Amma measure and return the finished products according to the large Amma measure in order that they should not come to commit Me'ilah. Reb Meir says all Amos mentioned in the context of the temple refer to medium Amos except for the Amos of the golden altar. Altar, golden altar, the horn, the ledge, the base of the Ola altar. And Rabbi Yehuda says the Amma of the temple structure measured 6 tefakim, but that of the utensils measured 5 tefakim. There are instances in which the rabbi spoke of a small measure. Liquid and dry measures were prescribed in accordance with Italian measures, which are the same as wilderness ones. There are instances in which the Chachamim stated that the measurements vary according to the size of the individual. One who performs Kmitza on a mincha offering, and one who scoops up the incense, one who drinks a quantity equal to the fill of his cheeks on Yom Kippur, and the food for 2 meals for an entire Techumen. The one
For an Erev Techumen.
Erev Techumen. I left that out, sorry. Erev Techumen. One food for a weekday, but not for the Sabbath. These are the words of Reb Meir, and Reb Yehuda says one's food for the Sabbath, but not for the weekday. And both this one and that one intend to rule leniently. Reb Shimon says 2/3 of a loaf of which there are 3 to a kav. Reb Yochanan ben Behoka says a loaf worth a pinyon when 4 size count a selah. Okay. That's it.
That's it. Sanhedrin.
I'm just trying to get you to Minyan on time. That's all. I don't know what time it is.
That's okay. We're good. We'll be fine.
Okay. A Ben Sora Amora, when does he become a Ben Sora Maora? From when he produces 2 hairs until his beard grows around the lower and not the upper. But the Chachamim employ delicate terminology. As it is written, if a man shall have a son and not a daughter, a son and not a man, a minor is exempt because he has not entered the realm of commandments. When is he liable? When he has a tartamar of meat and drinks a half log of Italian wine. Rabbi Yossi says a manna of meat and a log of wine. If he ate at the gathering for a mitzvah, or he ate at the meal for the intercalculation of the month, or if he ate Maisa Sheni in Yerushalayim, or if he had ate Nevelis or Terefis, or abominable or creeping animals, if he ate Tevel or Maisa Rishon from which his truma had not been taken.
I think the area in parentheses we said not to include, right?
He ate Tevel, Maisa Rishon from which his truma had not been taken, or Maisa Sheni or Hekdish which not had been redeemed. He ate something which is a mitzvah, or something which is a transgression. He ate any food but meat, or he drank any beverage other than wine. He does not become a Ben Sora or Maora. Unless he eats meat and drinks wine, as it is said, he is a glutton and a drunkard. Although there is no proof for the matter, it is an indication that to the matter that it says, be not among wine bribers and gluttons, eaters of meat. If he stole from his father and ate in his father's domain, from others, and he ate in the domain of others, from others, and he ate in his father's domain, he does not become a Ben Sora Ma'ara. Unless he steals from his father and eats in the domain of others, Rabbi Yossi, the son of Rabbi Yehuda, says, unless he steals from his father and his mother. Okay, it's one more. That's it?
That's it. And sukkah.
Okay. It's a good thing I had my coffee. Okay. How was the mitzvah of the willow performed? There was a place below Yerushalayim called Motza. He descended there, gathered from there 3 large willow branches, and came and stood them against the sides of the altar, and their tops drooping over the top of the altar. They blew it on a trumpet, a tekiah, teruah, tekiah. Each day they would circle the altar in one time and say, please Hashem, bring salvation now. Please Hashem, bring salvation now.
Success now. Huh? now.
I'm sorry, I was reading the English. I still made a mistake. Okay. Hashem Ashiyana, Hashem Atzlichana.
Yes.
Rabbi Yehuda says they would say, Anavaho, bring salvation now, but on that day they circled the altar 7 times. When they left, what did they say? They said, beauty is yours, O altar, beauty is yours, O altar. Rabbi Elia says they said to Havaya, and to you, O altar, to Havaya, and to you, O altar. Okay. just as it was performed on the weekdays, so it was performed on Shabbos, except that they gathered them on the eve of Shabbos and placed them in golden vessels so that they would not wilt. Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka says they brought date palm branches and beat them on the ground at the sides of the altar. That day was called the day of the beating of the date palm branches, which is.
And everyone else looks at Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka and says, "No, they didn't."
Immediately, the children loosened their lulavam and ate this as esrogim. That's it.
That's so basically it's a short little Mishnah with the halacha that teaches you that it's only the children who would throw their lulavim and their esrogim and start eating them, because for adults they're hooked to the mitzvah san. It's the whole day. They were still used for a mitzvah, and you're not allowed to use them for anything else.
Right.
Okay, only after the chag is finished are you allowed to eat your esrog and do whatever you want with your lulav. Okay, that's us.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Have a good day. Enjoy. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
Bye.